Welcome everybody to the third IGC events webinar focus on geothermal, which is presented by Think Geoenergy and Enerchange. My name is Jochen Schneider. I am the director of Enerchange and glad to welcome you and Maren Brehme for this Friday afternoon talk. Shortly about the frame of focus on geothermal. The webinar is recorded and you can follow up next week on your YouTube channel. Please follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter with likes and comments. You're all invited to comment and ask questions related to the presentation in the chat. After the presentation, we will have a Q&A session where we will try to answer these questions in order of their appearance. And now it is a great honor for me to welcome Maren Brehme. She started her career with studies in hydrology at the TU Berlin and the diploma thesis about water flows in Turkey. After this, she was for 10 years engaged as research scientist at the German Research Center for Geosciences, GFZ, in Potsdam. During this time, she did also her PhD about fault zones in Indonesia at the TU Göttingen. Since 2019, she is assistant professor at the TU Delft in the Department for Geoscience and Engineering. Just recently, Maren Brehme and her team were funded by the EU for the project EasyGo. Maren, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jochen, for this nice introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. To my talk today about geothermal energy, experiences, potentials, and targets in the Netherlands. As Jochen already said, I'm assistant professor at TU Delft since 1 year now. And I would like to give you some insight today what we are doing and from research in the Netherlands. In the last years in the Netherlands have been dominated by a little energy politics discussion, especially after the Groningen earthquake last year in May. The government decided to close the Groningen gas field by 2022. And there was a lot of media attention on that, of course, because this energy supply by gas has to be replaced somehow by other energy resources. And the question is, how can we do that? The Netherlands actually lag behind at the moment in the production of renewable energy sources. Only 8%, and maybe today a bit more, come from renewable resources, and still the greatest share is from gas and petroleum resources. From these 8% renewable energy resources, 5% is for heat, and only 0.5 from geothermal resources. On top of that, 10% of the CO2 emissions come from private households. The discussion going on between the government and deciders, energy deciders, formulated a target for 2050 that 20% of the heat supply should be by district heating until that time. And from this 20%, the target is to produce 30% from geothermal resources. This is a big goal, of course. So let's see where we stand at the moment. If we look at the yearly growth of geothermal energy in the EU over the last years, the Netherlands look quite well. So they have the greatest growth rate, actually. This is due to ATIS systems, aquifer thermal energy storage systems, and because of a lot of activity that has been started following up on this discussion on energy politics. At the moment, the Netherlands have around a bit more than 20 doublets installed, geothermal doublets. Most of them provide heat for greenhouses, horticulture, and some of them also to households already. The target, to meet the target I just presented, we have to drill 175 doublets until 2030, so within the next 10 years, and even 700 doublets until 2050. This is a study by EBN, the national energy company, state-owned energy company. They calculated these numbers to reach the target given by the government. The target in petajoules is 135, as you can see here in the table. They also calculated that this will result in about 3,400 positions in the geothermal energy sector. Most of the geothermal systems target a depth of about 2 kilometers. You can see here the depth range of geothermal doublets that are already installed. Most of them reach 2,000 meters, and they are mainly producing from sandy aquifers. The latest activities in the Netherlands, you can see here on the map, is the drilling of a second well from Trijs-Westland in the southwest of the country. They targeted 2,300 meters, and together with the first well, they produce heat for greenhouses again, but also to heat more than 300 homes in that area. They are mostly small villages or 4 towns from The Hague and also Delft. Then we have also ongoing research in the port of Rotterdam. They would like to change the energy sources also to more renewable sources. So they investigate possibilities for geothermal together with Shell at the moment. They target a depth of 3,000 to 3,500 meters, and they expect temperatures about 90 degrees. Then a first well was drilled just recently in Little Geest, also again for greenhouse heating. They target a depth of 1,800 meters and have nice production rates, 76 degrees Celsius, which is quite nice for a greenhouse owner. You see also a small geological sketch here. This is the normal lithology and also in sedimentary environment we face in the Netherlands at these depths. We have meandering rivers or older river beds where we target the wells, and around that clayey or sandy river benches. On the map you see the distribution of the most feasible sandstones in the country, so we can actually find nice resources all over the country. What are we doing at TU Delft? We have a whole team working on geothermal energy applications. We have 3 professors leading the theme, with Phil Warden as a team leader, David Broen, and me myself. We also have a research support recently hired. But all over, we have like 30 people involved in geothermal projects, and thesis and student projects. This ranges from us as professors to PhD students. Also, master students are quite interested in topics we research. We cover the whole depth range from deep to middle deep and shallow geothermal. And also we have one more colleague who focuses on ATOS systems and high temperature ATOS systems even. We organize a so-called geothermal get-together 2 or 3 times a year. It's like a one-day presentation seminar event where research meets industry, presents each other new knowledge, new research, what is going on. This is for networking and joint forces. We also have the new installed geoenergy master track running since September 2019, and we have increasing student numbers, which gives us a kind of backup for our research area. And then I put it in red because it's a quite big project, very important, the DAP project, so-called DAP project. It's the Delft Arc Foundry project, so Delft Geothermal project. We plan to drill a geothermal doublet on campus, probably starting from next year on. This project is a bit older than us being in Delft. It was funded by students, actually in a nice discussion, evening discussion by students, that they had the aim to renew also the campus, and they said, let's drill a geothermal doublet. So now we have the funding ready and the idea ready, and we are in the last phase of negotiations concerning budget and administrative legal things, and hope to start drilling quite soon. A bit more on the STEP project. We target a small anticline beneath the campus. The production well will go deeper, again about 2 kilometers, and the injection well is deviated away on the top of the anticlinal to re-inject the colder water. You see on the 3D sketch, there are already other geothermal wells, and they produce from the same Delft sandstone, it's called, and they are quite productive, and it's working nicely, this project. So we are very hopeful to provide the heat for the whole campus of University of Delft, and if we are lucky, we provide even more to the city of Delft, to some households. This is a research project together with industry partners that will also operate the wells afterwards. Still, we put a focus on research here, so we install a lot of equipment. A lot of logging will be done, so we call it overlogged, overcalled, kind of luxury well. We have a lot of money from the EPOS project money to do our research. There is a whole very big monitoring campaign going on within the wells, so we will install a lot of equipment in the wells, but also on the surface or shallow subsurface to also monitor groundwater quality, for example, the effect of geothermal on that. Of course, we will have a seismic network, an MP network, and observe any kind of changes we might cause to the environment. Then Jochen already said something. We just got granted an EU-funded Marie Curie action, where I will be the project coordinator leading this project called EasyGo. It's the acronym for Efficiency and Safety of Geothermal Operations. It is has a funding of 3.4 million euros by the EU and covers 13 PhD positions and 1 management position. It's called ITN. This means Innovative Training Network, and a doctoral school will be founded. So we will have these 13 PhD students at 4 different universities, which will build kind of group. They will be hired together and spend their 4 years of PhD together. They will meet in different workshops, and they will all have a European joint degree. So all the universities involved, which you see here on the map, are partners of the IDEA League. The IDEA League is a strategic alliance of technical universities in Europe. This is Delft, this is RWTH Aachen, this is ETH in Zurich, and Polyme in Milano. They will agree on a standardized PhD education and also joint degrees. And we have also in our consortium 10 industry partners from all the countries, 2 or 3 partners from each country, which you can see on the right-hand side of the map. You see on the left side small pictures from our large infrastructure which we will use. So one of these large-scale infrastructure is the DAB well from Delft. The PhD students will do their research on that well once drilled and even during drilling. Polyme has an expertise on power plant engineering and also runs some of the Munich power plants, or build that, not operate, but build that. ETH has access to these huge underground labs, and Aachen has access to several middle deep shallow geothermal wells focusing on geothermal storage. So all of these infrastructure is included in our project, and we will do on-site real scale research on them. A bit more on the project. So as I said, we have 13 PhD students. All of them will work kind of under the topic of geothermal, but everybody has a special focus. So the overall questions we will try to answer with these 13 research projects is how do we run geothermal systems efficiently and how do we run them safely? We will work along the whole chain, as you see on the left side, from the geothermal reservoir, production well, injection well, and the power plant design. The single research projects you see in the bubbles and different colors sorted by the host institute. We will have design of an advanced monitoring concept for geothermal systems. We will have coupled real-time simulations going on. We will develop and design new components of geothermal systems, and also new concepts for operation of these systems. How can we optimize the operation? Maybe changing some parameters. So I put also pictures here because you probably know that we deal with scaling, corrosion, microbiology. All of this will be a big topic in our project, and we hope to advance the geothermal operation with that project within 4 years. Then, as I said, this ITN is a training network, so we will make a new standard for geothermal PhD education, and therefore we have a strong workshop training and education program behind these students. They will meet at least 4 times for 1 week and will be trained on different aspects of geothermal energy. And you see the 4 workshop topics on the left side now in dotted lines. The first one will be on the holistic chain of geothermal operations. The second one, and that's hosted in Delft. Then the second one is on monitoring and simulation processes in blue. This will be in Aachen. A third one on power conversion and efficiency, focus on geothermal power plants in Milan. And then we will also have a final conference open for everybody at the end, hosted by ETH Zurich. The students will not only learn about geothermal energy and the whole chain and topic-related focus, but they will also have a quite good education in the so-called soft skills and research skills like academic abilities, creativity. They will learn about self-management, how can I be a successful researcher, anything about professional development, about communication, about teamwork, about transfer and impact. And this transfer and impact is, of course, a big topic for the industry partners, because all of them will host at least one PhD student for several months. So PhD students will not only be in the academic environment, but also in the industry environment, and learn what is the impact of the research. I put a link here, so if you're interested to learn more about that, you can click on the link and see, but also you can contact me or ask any questions right now. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maren, for this very interesting presentation and also the outlook what you're doing at the TU Delft. So the presentation is open for questions. There is one I want to ask. You just mentioned that there are a lot of doublets are in development in the Netherlands. Do you also think about having greater plans, like having 3 or 4 or 6 wells?
For the Delft campus, for now we think that 1 doublet, so 2 wells, is enough. This is a result of our estimation and calculations, what we know about the reservoir. So for the campus, we only plan with 2 wells. I can think of that the city of Delft, if they see that we are successful, that they might think in future of drilling their own wells, but that might then be done by the city or the government, smaller government of Delft.
Okay, thanks. Then there are questions. When will EasyGo be accepting new students?
Yeah, so the official project start of EasyGo is the 1st of November this year, 2020. And we are now in the phase of contracting and budgeting and so on, also all these administrative things. But at the same time, we plan to recruit and at least advertise the student positions the latest in August. And the advertisement will be mainly by TU Delft, but all the universities involved will announce their position at the same time, latest August. We try even for July. And it will be posted worldwide on all the known platforms. The recruitment is earliest November, and we will have like 5 months time to hire the students. We are a bit flexible on when they will start exactly.
Okay, thanks. There is another question. What types of geophysical surveys do you use to explore for targets?
Yeah, so the Netherlands is quite well covered by seismic lines. You can find them in the internet even. There are open portals which share the data called nlog, for example, where you can find borehole logs, but also seismic lines. And so seismic is a big topic simply because of oil and gas exploration in the history of the Netherlands. This is the main technique we use at the moment. For the well, especially, we also use electromagnetic techniques, where we hope to get a better monitoring equipment or method on the cold water front also, but this is more related to operation.
Then related to the first question again, how will the program be affected by COVID-19 for international applicants?
Yeah, that's a good question. Nobody probably can answer at the moment because we don't know about the effects of COVID at the end of the year. But we are ready to still start the project and still hire the students. TU Delft, for example, still hires students at the moment, and they start remotely, and then will travel to the Netherlands as soon as it is possible. From which country also they come, it's depending on that. We have options to start studying and starting the project and even hire remotely.
Okay, thank you. The question is, are there applications for heat pumps, for geothermal heat pumps in the Netherlands?
Yeah, there are. There are shallow geothermal projects. Also, we have a research project going on the campus, led by Fulwarden. I didn't present the details today, but you can find that on the homepage. And there are smaller projects in the Netherlands. I cannot tell you names at the moment. I would have to look them up, but there are, yes.
Thank you. Another question is, are you also interested in electrical generation or more in heating?
Yeah, a very good, very nice question. So the Netherlands for now focuses on heat production, heat supplies for greenhouses, for industry and for buildings. There are activities going on for deeper geothermal. They call it UDG, ultra deep geothermal. This targets then reservoirs at 4 kilometers depth, and they call it ultra deep. That would then target reservoirs with temperatures above 100 degrees, and that will result then in electricity production, although that is a minor focus at the moment. So the politic of the energy strategy is really focusing on heat production at the moment to make a first step and to make a big impact immediately. But this ultra-deep geothermal is already kind of researched by EBN at the company. Also, some researchers already are involved there, but it's a second focus, I would say.
Are there any geothermal electricity producing plants in the Netherlands? I don't think so.
No, not at the moment. We don't have that deep wells. We had one deep well that was not productive, so they closed the lower part and went for a shallower reservoir for heating again. But also I think that was the first try as far as I know at the moment. So there's no electricity producing plant, geothermal plant in the Netherlands, only heating at the moment.
Thank you. There is another question. Do we know about the injectivity of the Delft sandstone formation? How much overpressure is required for the injection?
Yeah, that's again a nice question. I cannot give you the number at the moment. There are simulations. We have master projects, so whoever asked that question can contact me maybe by email if more is needed. I would have to look for the numbers, but the injection is not a big deal. We have 2 geothermal projects in this Delft sandstone running for years now, and there's no issue with injection due to overpressure. So it's doable. It's quite porous and very permeable, the Delft sandstone.
Thanks for your answer. Then there is a question related to the large-scale development of geothermal in the Netherlands. If we think in the SWOT analysis, what do you think are the threats and weaknesses of geothermal in the Netherlands?
Okay, yeah, maybe I can comment on that in general. So I think the pros or the strengths of the geothermal in the Netherlands is that we really know a lot about our subsurface in the Netherlands due to oil and gas exploration. We nearly logged and drilled the whole country. So there's a lot of knowledge, and this knowledge, I think this is also quite unique in Europe, that all the knowledge is gathered at one state-owned company, EBN, and they provide us this even online. So the access to data is really nice and standardized. So I think that is already a good start for that. A weakness, maybe also a strength is also the geological underground in the Netherlands. So we have a lot of sandstones, and it is quite nice, highly productive, highly porous, highly permeable. So this is quite nice for geothermal energy production. A weakness, or we always have to consider, I think in every place in the world, is a social support, the public support by people, and the Groningen earthquake made quite a big impact on the people, on the trust of the people. So they now know that there's a risk of for example, producing earthquakes by gas production. We can explain the difference to geothermal energy production, but still there's a lot of people I already met since I'm there that are a bit hesitant to support these subsurface projects, and we have really to focus also a lot of our research on that topic to make geothermal operation more safe.
Okay, thanks. It sounds that it's the same problems and challenges as in Germany. Fears of the people and the information not addressed properly.
Yes, exactly. I agree. It's quite similar, and there are even studies our students did that compare the German and the Dutch situation of public support and so on. So if there's somebody interested, you can write me an email.
There is a question about any chance to incorporate drilling experts in the project. I assume this refers to the EasyGo project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I presented, we have a kind of fixed consortium, but besides that, we are happy to include new partners, at least for the training and workshop weeks. We are quite interested to include. So if there's anybody interested, you might contact me, and we are happy to include also drilling engineers, although we are not focusing on exploration and drilling, but more on operation. But the whole chain of geothermal is covered by this project, so I'm very happy to talk to you and include you.
I think there is another question related to the EasyGo project. The project will include safety and efficiency in well construction? Question mark.
The EasyGo project will focus on geothermal operation, so not on drilling exploration, but on operation and running geothermal plants. And we will study different effects, that lower or increase or decrease the efficiency of geothermal plants. But this is closely related also to the safety. So there's also sometimes a trade-off between safety and efficiency, and we will study this from different points of view. So, for example, the scaling and clogging that I mentioned will be a big topic. This, of course, affects the efficiency. If we clog the injection valve, what we mainly see in geothermal systems, then the efficiency will go down. The safety also might be a problem because we need higher pressures for injection at the moment. The turbines and the whole geothermal power plant is also affected by clogging, for example. So we have to find proper fluids, how to run the geothermal plants to make them more efficient and long-term sustainable.
Okay, thank you very much. There is another question, which is again more in general about the Netherlands. What do you expect that the impact on geothermal expansion will be from our government's drive to halt funding biomass?
I don't know too much about the biomass in the Netherlands. I see a great support of the government and in general the energy politics in the Netherlands for geothermal. There's some subsidies, there's support, financial support for drilling, for operating these geothermal wells. That's also why there's so much activity going on at the moment. So I see a great share of support. I cannot say so much about biomass.
Okay, thank you. There is another question. How do you evaluate the performance of a well?
A performance of the well. Well, this is basically done by monitoring at the surface during operation, but also this can be done by logging and production injection tests during stop of operation. For the dub well, for example, we have a whole logging program. Whatever you can think of logging will be done in the dub well before it goes into operation. There will be injection, it depends on the well, but there will be production and injection tests, so flow rate tests at different depths, including flow meter, for example, so we know where we get our geothermal fluid from and at which pressure, at which temperature. Then there will be installed cables, DAS cables that will continuously monitor pressure changes and temperature changes. At the surface, we will have a so-called bypass for hydrogeochemical processes to observe them. So we will have the opportunity to log physical chemical properties online and store the data online and monitor them, even with the warning system if some parameters exceed certain values, we will have a warning system installed. We also will have a bypass for testing different materials, but this is then quite special and detailed already. But we have a standard testing of geothermal valves planned for the duct valve, for example.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, how are the doublets usually run first? Are the producing and injecting continuously, or do some also stop for a while to heat up? The second part, can you say something about the average distance between the doublets in the subsurfaces, thus between the open sections?
Yeah, so maybe start with the last part. What normally is planned is a distance between the production and injection well of about 1.5 kilometers, if possible more, because we have these highly porous and highly permeable sandstones. We would like to avoid the heat or the cold water breakthrough as far as possible, so we put them far away, like 1.5 kilometers. Then the first question was, as I remember, about the operation and the running of the geothermal valves. Normally they go into operation and they run, and their runtime is calculated for 30 years. And this is also what we experience with all the systems, that they are able to run for 30 years. I don't know about valves that I stopped for heating up, because this takes so long, it might exceed the project time. The heating up is then taking such a long time that the system rather will be abandoned and stopped at all, and new drilling will go on in other places where there's still heat available. So there's no stopping of valves to heat them up again. The stopping of valves is only for monitoring them, for cleaning them, for testing them again.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, what is your estimation of the flow rate in a production well? Related to the Delft project at your campus?
Yeah, that's also a good question. With the numbers, I don't have them in mind so far. I think I cannot answer the question at the moment. If you drop me an email, I can look that up, but it would take some minutes now.
Okay, there is another question. Have studies been carried out on reservoir heterogeneity based on depositional environments?
Yes, so if that is related to the duct well, we have studies on the reservoir heterogeneity that showed how the reservoir is set up. The sedimentary environment is clear and understood quite well by our geologists in our department. Student projects, several of them have studied the heterogeneity, in which direction was the flow that influences again the sandstone, if it's more coarse, in which direction. And based on that, we also decided how we will place the wells, also of course based on hydrogeology and flow directions. And as I showed in the small sketch, that we will place the geothermal production well deeper than the injection well, because we would like, of course, to have the hotter water for the production. So we will place the production well at the foot of the anticlinal.
Okay, then thank you very much again, Maren.
Yes.
No more questions. I think there were plenty of them.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and thanks for inviting me.
Yes, it was great to hear you here. And we want to proceed now with the announcement of the next webinar. It will be again in German. It will be about the CO2 price and the effects on the geothermal district heating. This will be given by Benjamin Richter from Rödl & Partner. So thank you again to you, Maren. Thank you again to all the people outside everywhere in the world listening to this webinar and for these many questions. And we will have a next English webinar in 2 weeks. And till then, I wish you a very good time and a very nice and pleasant weekend. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jochen. Thank you, everybody, for the nice questions.